Yeah, and that's when you got it.
Me and her both are
And there were no restrictions.
100%.
Y'all just skip along.
And I had my license at 15 in 1 month.
Good.
And I think I had mine at 16 and a half, and I had a car in 3 days. I was ready.
The May 16th, 2023 meeting of the Union County Zoning Board of Adjustment is now in session. I am Rick Davis, Chairman of the Union County Zoning Board of Adjustment. Also sitting on today's board are Vice Chair Darren Green, Mr. Larry Britt, Mr. Mark Tilley, and alternates is Mr. Francis Ward and Dion Edwards, which Mr. Edwards will be serving tonight on the board. Also present are Jim King, Senior Planner and Zoning Administrator, Amy Griffin, Clerk to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and Mr. Derek Thurman, who is our lawyer, attorney for the Zoning Board of Adjustment. And Janet, Miss Janet Wolf is with us tonight too. Thank y'all. So we have a hearing of 3 types: application for variance for regulations in the zoning ordinance, or an appeal or from a decision or interpretation of the zoning administrator, or an application for a special use permit. The order of each case will be as follows. All parties who plan to give testimony pro or con must complete the green form to speak and be sworn in. And these green forms are up at the podium. In order for you to speak, you will need to sign these, please. A planning staff member will explain why a permit was denied or why a variance is requested or the nature of the special use permit application. The board may question the planning staff member. The applicant may question the planning staff member. Then the applicant presents his testimony for the case. The board may question the applicant. The planning staff member and persons in opposition may question the applicant. The applicant may present sworn witnesses. They will be subject to cross-examination. Other parties wishing to speak pro or con will be given reasonable time to present sworn testimony. They will be subject to cross-examination, and the planning staff member and then the applicant will be given an opportunity for rebuttal. After hearing the case, the board will review the case and render a decision. This is usually done following the close of the public hearing and the board's deliberation. However, the board may elect to take up to 30 days to render a decision. You may remain present during the deliberations, or you may call the Union County Planning Department after the session to receive the decision of the board. All exhibits must remain with the board. Please hand them first to the clerk for tagging. If you feel there's a conflict of interest of any member of the board or association that would prejudice your case, please let it be known at the start of your case. We are a quasi-judicial board and can accept only sworn testimony. No hearsay evidence is admissible. Appeal from this board is to the Union County Superior Court. You have 30 days from the date of this board's written decision in which to appeal in accordance with NCGS 160A-388E. I'd like to ask if everyone please turn your phones off so there's no disturbance with that. All right, we do recognize that we do have a quorum tonight. All right, and the minutes, let's go over to the approval of the November 15, 2022 Board of Adjustment meetings. Do I hear a motion that these be approved?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, first case we're going to hear. So the minutes, the quorum has been approved and the minutes have been approved. All right, the public hearing is item A, determination of any conflicts of interest for case 2023 SUP-01. It's for the special use permit. Are there any conflicts of interest with this? The applicant, Charlotte Aerial Models Incorporated, is requesting a special use permit to amend the conditions of the previous special use permit approved on January the 11th on the property located at 88, approved on January 11, 2020, to extend the hours of the operation from 10 p.m. and limit the type of engines allowed on the property more specifically identified by the Union County Parcel 08009-002. Mr. King, is the petition complete?
Actually, Ms. Wolf.
Ms. Wolf? Okay. Ms. Wolf, is the petition complete?
Yes.
Okay. Could you please present it, please? Yeah. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter at hand?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Board of Adjustments. I'm here again for the 2023 SUP 01 special use permit requesting a modification to the conditions of the existing aviation facility airstrip. In the evidence, I want to submit the agenda and the UDO.
Okay.
The property is located at 8805 Morgan Mill Road, more specifically identified by parcel number 08009-002. The applicant is Charlotte Aero Modelers, Inc. Presenting today will be Doug McHugh. Owner is Doug and Luann McCracken. The applicant is requesting the modification of the conditions of an existing special use permit. The applicant receiving a special use permit on 1/11/2010, recorded 2/12/2010, for an airport airstrip to construct and operate an outdoor recreation facilities for the purpose of a model aircraft flying area. This special use permit was recorded at the Register of Deeds, Union County, in Book 5286, page 262. The property is zoned RA40, which is residential agricultural. The modifications of the conditions are changing the terminology from jets to no fuel turbines, and to adjust the no fly after dusk to no fly after 10 p.m. This is the recorded document that the original was put in. It was in book the 5286, start page 262. On the two lines there, it's showing where the no jets were. They want to modify it to no fuel turbines, and the no fly after dusk to modify to no fly after 10 p.m. This is a site view. It's just of the airport area, the little landing strip for the model airplanes. And as you notice, the driveway comes down to the south. The reason I'm telling you that is that if you look over on the overview, you see the airstrip where it's located in the rectangular area. I'm going to show you a couple views right at the driveway, and then I'm going to come up a little bit farther so you can see how far back it is off the road, from the view from Morgan Mill. This is the one that's up farther on the road that you can come and look straight across to the airstrip from Morgan Mill Road. This is the front view at the driveway, which comes up from the south area. Where again, we stepped back and we did a northeastern view of the site. And then we walked up a little bit and turned around and showed you the southwestern view of the site. The zoning is RA40, which is all the green area you see. You do see a couple of the B4s, the business, in the red or pink, however you refer to it, but it's primarily residential agricultural. The development status on this, you'll see in the pictures, you'll see some medium green and some darker green, which are all the trees. Your beige areas and your light green areas are mainly agricultural. And as you notice, red structures are the structures in the area. And you can see that there's residential over to the left-hand side of the page. You'll see some residential community there. So it is used for exactly what it's supposed to be for. Environmental features in the area. You'll notice the black area shows the parcel. And behind the parcel, on the rear of it, you'll see there is a creek there. The creek is Grassy Creek. And you can see the flood area, which is at the little hash mark areas. And you'll see to the right, it comes down and comes across the property again, and up near Morgan Mill Road. And that's just a tributary of Grassy Creek. But the airstrip is nowhere near any of that. The transportation, you'll see again, the area is marked in black. The intersection has a future roundabout, which is actually being built right now, just not finished yet. And then the other notations are of traffic coming on the roads. The land use plan is what you're seeing here. You have two different color greens. The darker is the rural center, which we saw some of the business area, a couple areas, and everything else is set up as rural residential, which is exactly what it is. The one thing we recommend is that they must comply with all local, state, and federal regulations. Any questions?
Yes, Ms. Well, I see that the, under issues and concerns, the staff has no issues or concern with the proposed use. As stated in the summary, the existing previous use has been an airstrip, and the use is not changing.
Correct.
Okay, so you guys have no issues or concerns with it?
Nope.
I have a question, Janet. Excuse me. Did you evaluate the change in time from dusk to 10 PM?
I did not do an evaluation on that. I think, did you? Doug did some information. He'll give you some on that.
Okay, all right.
Present.
Thank you.
So were these, the dusk and no jets, were those restrictions imposed by the board at the time?
Yes,
I don't think they come out of the UDO.
I was on the board at that
Okay.
time, and yes, there was some concern about the noise from some of the modelers had the jets, and that's why we placed that on there at that time.
Okay, so it's not out of the ordinance, though, that was something
No,
the board decided, okay.
yeah, we did, that was a stipulation we put on it.
Yes, and it shows on the, I pulled up the recorded document where it shows it.
Right.
The, he'll explain on the jets versus the no-fuel turbines. He'll tell you the differences on there. Anything else?
Anyone else have any questions? Thank you, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you. Oops. Oops, sorry.
Okay. I'd like to ask anyone that's going to be presenting evidence for or against, I'd like for everyone to come up to be sworn in. Anyone that's going to be present evidence for or against, or anyone that's going to be speaking, need to be sworn in.
That would be Doug. Anyone else going to speak?
Anyone else?
Either by.
Then you are Mr. Doug McCracken.
McClue. Doug McClue.
He's under the applicant and then the owners.
Okay, the owners here says Lou Ann and Doug McCracken.
Right, but above it, the applicant shows, it'll show you if Doug is the, he's the applicant. We have an owner and applicant.
I don't see it.
Oh, he's under, he's with, the applicant is Charlotte Aero Modelers, Inc. He's with Charlotte Aero Modelers.
They just I saw it earlier.
Right here on
She
his.
notified.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they both have, but it is
McClue, okay. Okay, I apologize for that, Ms. Gillespie.
interesting y'all both have the same first name.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, see, there it
All
is.
right. Be sworn in, please. Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter at hand?
I do.
Okay, please present your evidence, please.
You show me how to get to this thing. I'm the oldest one on our board, so that's why I get to do it.
Well, what's embarrassing to me, my granddaughter comes up, she's 10 years old, says, "Pop, let me show you how to do it."
Well, my granddaughter fixes my phone.
First one?
Yeah.
Do you want it as a slideshow, or do you want it
Just slideshow.
from the beginning? There you go.
Cool.
You get that click. This side. Turn.
Okay. All right, new technology. I'm Doug McClue. I'm on the board of the Charlotte Aero Modelers. We're proud to be here.
Okay. Glad to have you.
I want to thank Jim and Janet both for mentoring me through this whole process. We've been playing with it since October. And some of the members said, well, it can't be done. I said, sure it can. So that's what we're going to do. Being an engineer, I started out with about an hour talk. I think that's probably a little much. And Janet said, keep it brief. So,
Yeah, thank you.
okay. So I pared it down from 40 slides to 8. We're number 710 out of 2,600 clubs in the U.S. On top of that, we're one of 159 Gold Star Leader clubs. So we've been around for a while. We've got 95 members, and we're very proud of having 21 junior members.
Okay, excuse me just a minute. Back up, when you said, back up to the slide, yours, a gold member or something?
Yes, sir.
Now, what does that mean?
Within AMA, or Academy of Model Aeronautics, there's a certain levels of things that you have to do to be a Gold Star Club. Like, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we supplied bulletproof vests for the police department. We have to interact with Purple Heart members, be community-minded, have to be a member of AMA for over 5 years, have to have more than 10 members. So there's a bunch of hurdles that you have to go through
If it's
to
only
be a Gold Star.
159, if it's only 159 of you, it must be pretty tough.
It is tough, and we're very proud of being gold member.
I can imagine.
This is also our 50th anniversary is this year. And you can see in the picture, we've had Purple Heart members there. We've had the police out. We've very family and community oriented. And AMA drives that as well. So we're organized for the purpose of promotion, development, education, and safeguarding of modeling activities. As Janet said, we're in the middle of, we have 5 acres in the middle of 73 acres. We've got a 600-foot Bermuda grass runway that we're going to have rolled here soon. It's a family-oriented facility. As you can see, there's a playground. We do radio control cars. We do helicopters, drones, 3D, and of course we have the runway. So it's very family oriented, but we're very respectful of our neighbors at the same time. Now, this whole thing is about a change or changes in technology. Those of you I see are old enough to remember Dick Tracy, and he could talk on his wrist. Well, guess what? Now you can. We went from bag phones to flip phones to now phones that tell what your blood pressure is. The original permit in 2010 said no jets. At that time, jets were fuel-driven, similar to what's at the airport that you ride to Miami on, fueled by kerosene. As you can see in the left-hand side, a fuel turbine has 70 degrees input and 550 to 600 degrees exhaust. We prefer not to do that. Since 2012, there are now jets called EDFs, or electric ducted fans. That's basically a fan in the middle of a tube driven by a battery. Exactly the same thrust, but 70 degrees in, 72 degrees out. So the newer technology allows us to, it's quieter, if you will, and this technology is now in jets, airplanes, and helicopters as well. So we're requesting that we say no fuel turbines, because right now, by saying no jets, we theoretically can't fly EDFs. The second thing is LEDs have come along in technology, and you know how small they are. That's an LED in the top, produces about the same light as that bulb. 30% of the aircraft that's built today have LEDs, and basically the LEDs will tell you the attitude of the plane. Okay, so you'll see that in a minute, but we're requesting that instead of flying at dusk, that we have the ability to fly till 10 o'clock. And basically there's kind of what it looks like. That's a lit electric plane. in getting ready for this thing, I've done enough presentations to know that anybody that would want to comment, you'd want to get them all together and answer their questions rather than have them all drag in here and answer the questions. So on March 2nd, we had a chili supper for all our neighbors. Had 27 of our neighbors come, ages 3 weeks to 91. We discussed what we did in 22. We talked about what we're planning in 23. And in addition, we talked about the proposed permit. Everybody was excited, to say the least. And it was a free supper. So the point I want to make is that we're very community and neighbor oriented all at the same time. As a result of the letter that you sent out, we had one comment. The lady called me. Matter of fact, the lady that caused the permit to start out with. And I went over and talked to her, talked about what we're doing and how we're doing it. And she said, great. So there we are.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I remember back 20, 30 years ago, my uncle used to fly these remote planes. And sometimes it was difficult to keep up with them with the old school technology. With you flying after dark, how do you control your equipment to keep it from going onto somebody else's property to damage their property? Is there any issues with that possibility happening?
That's a great question. Technology, again, each of these planes have a receiver. Well, what we've found that sometimes the receiver is blocked by the battery. So the majority of the planes now have a remote receiver so that they're both receiving, and the chances of losing signal and all that are very slim. Now, night flying, my eyes aren't that good. Most people aren't. And usually your plane doesn't get that far away from you, no more than 100 yards. During the day, yes, we can fly a quarter of a mile without any problems. So, does that answer?
Yes, sir. If you can only fly 100 yards, I guess my question will be, the 100 yards doesn't seem like a quarter of a mile. In the daytime, you can see it. So what is the advantage of flying at night when you can only go 100 yards with it?
I think it has to do with the same reason that BMX riders have bigger jumps.
Okay, just curious. I know my uncle used to carry a pair of tree
Some of
climbers.
us that get real good during the day want to try something different.
I understand. My uncle used to keep a pair of tree climbers in his truck all the time to go get the plane out of a tree.
Well, the nice thing is we're out in the middle of 73 acres, so it's.
So what you're telling us then, there is no possibility of a plane getting out of control and going over to the neighbors and flying through a window or something?
I can't say that.
But it's not likely, that's what you're saying.
99.9, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. I'm troubled by the 10 o'clock, frankly. And, you know, I think it was good sense on the part of the board a number of years ago. So I know, and you had the dinner, but did you have any written testimony from neighbors saying that they are agreeable?
I don't have any written testimony. I do have, we impose our own rules for the club. A lot of them have to do with no drinking, no drugs, all sorts of things. You have to be an AMA certified pilot to fly, okay? Now, the night is that we got thinking about it, and during the summer in July, it doesn't get dark till 9 o'clock. So it really doesn't give you an opportunity till 10. Now, the comment back during one of the meetings was, gee, it seems like might be a little loud after 9 o'clock. Some people go to bed at 9 o'clock. So we as a club are imposing that we only fly electric planes after 9. Other things that we already do is that we only allow electric plane flying before noon on Sunday, because there's churches on either side. We also impose no flying if there's a funeral at either church. So there's things that we're doing as part of the community wellness, if you will.
As far as the 10 o'clock, I mean, if we make a condition that you only fly electric planes, you know, let's say after 9 PM or 8 PM, maybe probably 9 PM, would you be agreeable to that? Because you said that you would fly in that period of nighttime, because people do go to bed at 9 if they're up early enough. Then they would, you know, an electric plane, of course, there's no noise with that.
Can I
All,
interject something here, Mr.?
Yes.
Since there's no one here in opposition, and all of the neighbors have been spoken to with about this, I don't think none of the neighbors would have any opposition, otherwise they would have been here to speak out against it. I'm just replying to what you were asked about noise to the neighbors. I think if the neighbors thought there had been an issue, they would be here to present evidence against it.
well, and some of the other
Does
things.
that maybe satisfy your question there? or-
We're trying to be as proactive as we can, and our president's here too, and my wonderful wife, who, when she starts going like this, I gotta stop talking. But we're only gonna fly at night on Friday night and Saturday night to see how it goes before we even open it up for the whole week. So we're trying to be neighbor proactive and see how it goes. If there's an issue, then we'll modify our internal rules, if you will.
Well, would you be acceptable that Monday through Friday, only electric after 9 PM, and then that would give you the weekend, when people don't normally go to bed as early, to do that?
I guess you would want that to be Sunday
Sunday
through
through
Thursday.
Thursday.
probably.
Do what?
You probably want that to be Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah, all right, so Sunday through Thursday, only electric after 9 PM.
Again, to me, I don't think it makes sense
Well,
because there's no one
the
here.
problem is, we're okaying something that it's here.
That is correct.
If another organization buys this piece of property, they're not playing by their rules. That's why we have to put the rules for the community in here like this. Because if you leave it vague, down the road, this special use permit applies to anybody that buys it or is on that property.
Right. Okay.
You good with that?
Oh, was there a question? I'm
All
sorry.
right. Sunday through Thursday, only electric after 9 PM. And then that would give you Friday and Saturday to 10 PM on what you wanted to fly.
Well, it doesn't really restrict anything, because the majority of everything that we fly at night is electric.
Okay, but the whole thing is, we're gonna put a rule on it that makes sure that happens.
I understand.
Because you might not always be in your position, and somebody else later on might come along that has other ideas. And
That's-
it's our job to make sure that the neighbors are protected when we make these decisions, because a special use permit goes with the property, not the person.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I mean, we paid $800 to change 4 words, so that's fine.
And you're right, and I agree with everything you've proposed. I agree with it.
Yeah,
But we have to look after
I
the
agree.
future. That's our
agree.
job.
I agree. Yeah.
Mr. King, what are your thoughts?
I think the request is amenable. don't see any issues with it. Again, the board has the right to, approve the request as submitted, approve the request for modifications, or deny the request. And, it's nice the board asks the applicant if they agree to it, but the North Carolina general statutes say you can do whatever you want as long as it's reasonable.
Okay. Mr. Thurman, what are your thoughts?
Jim's right.
Okay,
You can impose reasonable conditions if you think they're necessary.
okay.
And what you propose tracks with their internal rules right now. Their internal rules are even stricter than what you propose,
Right.
Right.
so.
Basically, all this is doing is making sure their own rules are applied as long as this special use permit is in existence and that means if it changes, they would have to come back before this board to ask for it to be different, and then we would have a say in it. It's basically just protecting their rules that they get kept the way they have them.
I guess the question, if we leave the field and say, go to Albemarle or something, does the special use permit go away?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
The special use permit runs with.
No, that's fine. I'm good with it. then.
That's why
I think we're good with it.
That's why I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because anybody else could come back in there and as they approve, or by these guidelines.
Yeah.
Mr. Tilley, may I add, going back to what Mr. Tilley said earlier, and I think it makes a lot of sense, is you've already said that you have, the organization's got their own internal rules, and so that there's no flying of other aircraft that are non-electric after the 9 o'clock.
Well, just say for the whole week. Don't say days. Just blanket the whole week and say electric only after 9.
Well, what we was doing, I was giving you an extra hour on the weekend because of the time. Because you might have some people that wanted to do it, and I'll do it any way you want to.
Currently, 99% of the planes that'll fly at night are electric.
Well, we'll just make it 7 days a weekend, only electric after 9.
Works for me.
Can I ask, overall in general, during the day, what's the ratio of electric versus fuel?
The ratio of electric to, what would you say, 80% electric?
So everything's kind of electric, for the most part anyway.
Yeah, and the LEDs are in most electric
Right.
planes because you drive them with a battery.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, basically, we're not really putting much limit on you, because, yeah. But like Mr. Tilley said, we've had situations in the past where we approved something and somebody else bought it and decided they weren't gonna do something, and
I'm
it
good.
was out of our hands.
I'm good.
So I have a question. The original stated no jets. Why was that?
Pardon me?
The original
The
statement.
original stated no jets.
Regional SUP.
Well, back then, the terminology of jet was a fuel-driven jet. That's all there was.
Okay. No other safety issues associated with the jets that they were trying to eliminate?
Yeah, they were
There can
really,
be.
really loud
They
at
were
that
loud,
time.
very loud.
Really loud.
Had the
Anything
500.
Well,
other
the
than
fact
those?
that they're carrying a
Kerosene.
pint and a half of kerosene,
And the 500-degree
I think
discharge.
was the issue back, if you remember. I wasn't there, but
Matter of fact, you're exactly right. The lady that was in opposition to those was concerned that if it crashed into her house, it could catch it on fire. You're exactly right.
Yeah,
correct.
yeah, because they could combust, where
Right.
electric's not like.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is, if it originally said no jets, if we're changing it, are we allowing anything that we were trying to prevent originally?
No,
Besides-
because you'd still have no jets. You're just allowing them to use the electric kind
No,
now.
we're changing the terminology. They still can have jets, but they can't have a turbine.
What
Correct.
we'd call it, it'll be no
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 turbine.
fuel turbines.
fuel turbines.
So if they want to land a 747 out there, it's electric.
I hope not.
That'd be interesting.
But that is in his request with the special use permit, that the no fuel turbines, that's already in his request, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
And understand that now, since you've done that, there were fuel turbine jets, and that's always known in 2009, okay? But now there are fuel turbines in turboprop airplanes and helicopters as well. That's why we're trying to tidy that up,
So basically, there'll be no fuel turbines at all.
period.
Gotcha.
Correct.
Anyone else have any questions? No?
Good.
Everybody good? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Oh, shouldn't have done that?
That's all right, you're fine.
All right, we have now concluded the
down.
portion of the cases that pertains to the presentation of evidence. The board shall now proceed to discussion and decision portion of the cases. Interested parties are not permitted to address the board during this portion of the meeting. However, everyone is permitted to remain present and listen quietly to the board's discussion and the vote. So we are going into closed session. Discussion.
Being concerned about, flying fuel planes, noisy planes after 9, I think the proposed condition that we make, and I guess it's probably best to do it 7 days a week, because it kind of makes sense, and it makes the rules easier to follow and understand. So, I'm in favor of it as long as, we impose that condition.
Okay?
No flying fuel planes after 9 PM.
Okay. So that's what Mr. Tilley's got in part of the motion that he's requesting for. Okay? Any other questions?
I guess these, we need to do these 5 things or whatever.
Yes.
Even though there's not been.
You want to do the
Basically-
motion first?
Well, we had to do.
Either way, it don't matter to me.
Yeah. I just want to make sure no one else had any
No.
questions.
I'm
Okay, in order for us to prove this, we have what's called the findings of facts. We have 5 findings of facts that we have to go through. We have to justify these. So that's what we're fixing to do now. All right, the BOA makes the following findings of facts. The proposed use of development complies with the UCDO Article 25 allowed uses. A special use permit was granted on January 19th to allow for entertainment and spectator sports wedding venue. The use will remain a place of gathering. Oh, I'm gonna apologize for that. Okay, I'm gonna excuse that. The proposed use and development comply with all regulations and standards generally applicable within the zoning district and specifically applicable to the particular use of special use. Airstrips are allowed for use by table 25-1 with a special use permit. The original special use permit granted in 2010 is being followed for the RC radio control models, including aircraft, helicopters, and cars, remote cars. Is everyone agreeable with that one?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, the second one, the proposed development will not materially endanger the public health or safety. The Charlotte Aerial Models, CAM, site has been operated under all known guidelines and permits, as well as being a Gold Star AMA, Academy of Model Aeronautics, Aeronautics Club, ensuring a safe and secure and enjoyable modeling environment for the whole family. The current airfield, constructed in 2009, provides members, guests, and families 5 acres of unobstructed land, including a clubhouse and shelter.
I would say in addition to that, the eliminating turbo, engine turbine, as well, so just that only increases safety.
Okay.
Because not helicopters and little planes won't have
Okay?
that anymore, so, I'm good.
Is everybody good with that one? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, number 3, the proposed development will not substantially injure the value of a budding property or is a public necessity. Under the AMA guidelines and club rules, we have defined the acceptable flight perimeters that minimize the possible interaction with our neighbors. In addition, Visitors and non-pilots are contained behind safety fencing. The special use permit modification does not include any expansion of the facility. However, the original 2010 permit, there has been changes in technology requiring changes in terminology. Is that good with everybody?
Yep.
All in favor? All right. All right, number 4, the proposed development will be in harmony with the area in which it is located. RC, radio-controlled planes and helicopters, have advanced technology that will allow them to operate in a safe control. CAM has been recognized by AMA for their operation and pilot training methodology. CAM is celebrating our 50th anniversary in 2022 and 23, and with advanced and LED, which is light emitting diodes, over 30% of the aircraft being manufactured with night flying capabilities. Up to 10% of our club membership are currently limited from flying from dusk to 9:30 p.m. Let's back up and look at that one again. Up to 10% of our club membership are currently limited from flying from dusk to 9:30 p.m.
When they originally made the application, it was for 9:30, and then they asked if they could bump it up to 10 o'clock.
Okay. So will that be in the records then?
Yes,
Okay, so that 9:30 is going to 10, is that correct?
that is correct.
So what we're changing is the limited flying from dusk, now it will be limited to 10 p.m.
That is correct.
Okay. Everybody good with that one? Any questions? All in favor? All right. The proposed development will be in general conformity with the comprehensive plan. The Camp CAM site is designed as a full family facility, from a secure playground to separate areas for helicopter and 3D flying, RC aircraft and RC cars. The campsite is a fully family facility with secure playground to separate areas for helicopters, the 3D planes, and RC cars that has been allowed with the issuance of our special use permit in January of 2010. Everybody good with that? Any questions?
Well, I think, where will we put in the restriction?
In the motion.
In the motion.
The end of motion?
Let's have a go in motion, Everybody good with this one?
Yep.
All right, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve this with the exception that after 9 p.m., they're only allowed to use electric models,
aircraft, okay. That's 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Okay. So after 9 p.m., only electric
Correct.
aircraft will be able to fly. And that was in agreements, Mr. Ruth there.
Not just the electric, they also have RC cars and all that. 9 p.m. electric only, from 9 to 10, whatever it is, helicopter, plane, whatever.
I'm good with that.
And then, of course, the no fuel turbines, period.
Okay. Is everybody good with that?
I'll second it.
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, sir. All right, in order to receive a written copy of the decision, any agreed party must file a written request for a copy of the board's decision with the board's clerk or chairperson at today's hearing of the case. The forms are located next to the podium. So if any of you would like a written copy of this, if you fill that out, and staff will be glad to get it for you. All right, that's it. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We went up there, a friend of mine took me by there last fall. That is a neat place y'all have. We were not invited. He said, we're just gonna drive up there and see what's going on. But the folks up there were just as nice as they could be.
Well, I invite you all to come June 3rd, Saturday, June 3rd. We have a Warbirds event, so if anybody's into big old planes, we've got planes coming from all over the southeast, more than likely.
Now, how big of planes are these models? 5 foot span, 6 foot?
4 or 5 foot.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
What's interesting is to see you guys take off and.
What time's your third?
It starts at 9,
At 9? Okay, thank you,
What was that date?
June 3rd.
June 3rd.
Saturday, June 3rd.
thank you.
And we're just north of, and we're the only place in Union County that has the peanut.
I know, that's the strangest thing.
It's a
Oh,
peanut.
No, it's Martinsville Speedway is what
So
it
we're just north of the peanut if they'll get it open before the 3rd.
is. Strangest looking thing I've ever seen in my
All right,
life.
thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir, thank you.
You seen that thing? I got
All
a
right.
picture, I'll show you from the league.
We'll go into, yeah, oh,
Okay,
we'll,
open the public hearing, and then next applicant.
say that again now.
We need to go into the public hearing. Once the public hearing is open, you know, I was gonna tell you that. we
Okay.
received a request.
Okay, all right, this time we will open the public hearing. Okay.
Conflicts.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but you're right. I was thinking, okay, let's go back. My mistake. All right, going into the special use permit. Go back, find my paperwork. All right, first, item C is determination of any conflicts of interest for case number 2023 SUP-02. Okay, the special use permit. The applicants, Mr. and Ms. Weber, are requesting a special use permit to operate a minor event venue on the property located at 7007 Wolf Pond Road, more specifically identified by Union County as parcel number 04-159-019-04-15-020. Okay, Mr. King. Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter at hand?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, you will need to sign the paper, you will need to sign?
Yeah, we got it
Okay.
already.
Okay.
So, we had received a written request that we continue the public hearing. There was a couple items that they wanted to modify on their application and their site plan. In addition to that, Union County Building Code has requested that they fill a form out for David Out, that it may, if they qualify under the North Carolina General Statutes for building code, it's not pertaining to zoning, but building code, some of the regulations may be able to be relaxed for them.
Okay,
The applicant's here for any questions y'all have.
okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Board of Adjusters. My name is Armando Perdomo. I'm not Mr. Weber or Miss Weber. I have a kind of an accent. I wanted to thank you, first of all, for all you do, and I just want to formally request to you the continuation of the project with the coordination and support of Mr. Jim. They've been very helpful for the past, well, nearly 8 months right now, and Miss Janet as well. And certainly look forward to really make sure that we follow all the codes and every requirements that, you know, the county has for this purpose.
Okay. Does anyone have a problem with the continuance?
no, I don't.
All right, well, we need to vote on this continuance.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, sir.
Thank you so much. I really
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. You
Now,
have a
the
great-
continuance will be for
Next month.
So.
how many days or?
We theoretically could still have a June meeting. So why don't we go ahead and go into new business, and I can kind of talk about that a little bit.
Okay. All
But
right.
you'll keep them notified, obviously.
Yes, I will keep them notified.
Thank you.
Now, do we need to close this out?
No, it stays open.
Stays open.
because it's
Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir.
That it?
Thank you.
No, thanks to you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you.
I'm still working.
It's gonna be interesting how it's gonna work.
Just to kind of give you guys a brief update, back, I want to say probably early March or something like that, the Union County Board of County Commissioners made a request to the Union County planning staff to look into drafting a text amendment. That text amendment would basically expire the terms of all of the Board of Adjustment members and all of the planning board members. We would not have a separate planning board and a separate Board of Adjustment, but we'd have one unified board. And that board would be called the Union County Land Use Board. The public hearing was held at the 1st of May for that. And last night, the Board of County Commissioners voted to adopt the text amendment as presented. Spoke with Lee to ask him when that new board is to come on. Believe that they're looking to make the appointments for the board to be active July 1st. Therefore, technically, there can be another Board of Adjustment meeting in June, provided that, you know, the applicants have got all their stuff, you know, in line and moving forward. Otherwise, what we'd have to do is do a training session with the new board, and then at the first meeting for the new board, the continued case would go before them at that time. So me and Janet both will continue working with them, try to get them so that they have all their ducks in a row so that we can have a June meeting. Therefore, there won't be any type of pending cases looming for the new board. Lee did say that at last night's meeting, the county commissioners made it very apparent that they wanted each of you to reapply if you're wanting to serve back on the board, but they would encourage everybody here to reapply. Derek, guess probably I don't know how it would, I don't think it's going to, you know, I don't know how it's going to affect the contract with you. What you may want to do is talk to our legal department and, you know, my guess is that they just keep you on there because, I mean, you've got so much experience with the board as it is. But
Planning board doesn't have an attorney, correct?
No, planning board does not have an attorney.
So like you'll be fighting each other.
Well, they are taking a lot of things in-house, the county has been, so, yeah, legally, so I'll reach out, yeah.
Yeah. So I wish I had more information to give you. I don't know the pretenses of, you know, the text amendment. Staff just followed direction, and so.
Well, when will the applications be ready?
Amy, would you mind emailing the applications out tomorrow to everybody?
I can email the application to everybody, just when you email it back to me, I'll get it to Lynn.
Now, it'd be the same one that we've been filling out?
Yes.
They just change the name.
Just changing the name.
You just-
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
just like the reappointment, just reapply.
I have a question, Jim. There are 100 counties in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other counties that have joint zoning and planning board?
There are, I could not tell you who they
Okay, there
are,
Okay.
but there are other.
About him.
The way the North Carolina statutes reads is it says that actually the governing officials, the electric board, can actually act as a board of adjustment themselves. But that they have to have a separate planning board because planning board is basically making a recommendation to the regulatory board that has the final decision. So with this new land use board, when they are acting in capacity of the planning board, they don't have to base their decisions on evidence like the Board of Adjustment does. It's a legislative process. When the new board will be wearing the Board of Adjustment hat, then it's a quasi-judicial process, and the findings of fact will come in play. And you are the final decision-making body for the quasi-judicial process.
So they're gonna have new responsibilities beyond
Yeah,
Well, and when you stated earlier that we needed a workshop, and I agreed with you, this is the whole reason why.
well, I would suggest that our duties are more hard to learn than theirs are. I think, once you got this down, that, learning what the planning board does is a whole lot easier, because, like you said, evidence is not required, there's no, it's,
Yep.
if I like it, I like it, if I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't have to listen to it.
That's right. You know, and an example I use a lot of times when we are telling the public the differences between a quasi judicial board and a legislative body, such as planning board, or a legislative process altogether for a rezoning that goes before the Board of County Commissioners. You can have somebody presenting a rezoning case to the Board of County Commissioners, and one of the members can look down and say, well, you got green shoes on, so we're not going to approve you. That's totally legit. I mean, it's not practical, but.
Not politically correct.
But it's a legislative decision.
Right.
It doesn't have to be based on finding of fact, so, yeah, it gets a lot more complicated when you're doing the quasi judicial process.
I encourage everyone to apply, I think we'll be good. I think we can handle the
I've
responsibility.
never heard of it. I mean, I've been on both types of boards, but it's very
When I worked for
unusual.
the town of Cornelius, we had a combined board. And typically, they would open up as the planning board. And then after they would close the planning board session, they'd open up as Board of Adjustment.
Right. Not be blending them, just have one
Yeah.
set here,
No,
so everybody
no,
understands.
Jim, do you know how many members there'll be on the?
That I'm not
It's
sure.
in the thing, it's 9. Well, it was in the thing I read, that,
Okay, so now.
yeah, there's 9, but 7 regular and 2 alternates.
And so, right now, one of the things that staff's charged with is, we gotta start drafting rules of procedure. Because that would be, the first 2 orders of business for the new board is adopt rules of procedure and then election of officers.
How often will the new board meet?
Similar to the Board of Adjustment right now, when there's either a rezoning case to be heard or when there's a Board of Adjustment case to be heard. Like I said, I have not dug into the document. I'm assuming it's going to be a single meeting date for the combined board instead of having 2 separate dates for the 2 different processes.
It wasn't in the, that was, I guess, left up to rules of procedure.
Yeah, that's.
But I
left up to rules
suspect
of
it would meet more often, it would meet at least once a month, most likely. Because the planning board meets more than we meet, for the most part.
Well, let's,
I think if you combine them, you probably,
yeah, if you combine them, then potential for a
Yeah.
monthly meeting.
we're not going, last time we met was November, right?
That's correct.
I don't think we'll have a drought that long. I couldn't imagine if assuming we're on that new board.
Every week.
But, yeah,
I lived in Jefferson.
Oh, okay.
but that's all I have, and if you guys want to close the public meeting now, we're good for that.
Does anyone have any other questions, or? Do I hear a motion, we close the public meeting? Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
So now I make a motion to adjourn.
Good deal. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it. Sure.
And all in favor? Adjourn the meeting? Thank you, Mark. I told you I'm gonna have an, it's been a long time.
I thought we did.
I second it.